Hi, my name is Nagasundaram from HCL. Blockchain as a technology is still being experimented with. We have not seen large-scale adoption of this particular technology, but experimentation is happening in a very, very large way. Across financial services, capital markets firms are trying to experiment with this technology when it comes to settlement. They're trying to do smart contracts on top of that. There's a lot of experimentation that we are doing. Banks are getting prepared for disruption that could potentially happen. A good example is the Payment Services Directory Regulation PSD2 in Europe, where the regulator is asking banks to open up their systems on which potentially somebody else could process a transaction, transaction information to be made available to someone other than the bank with the consent of the consumer. Once that happens, you potentially can see two scenarios. One, the bank could either become a complete utility company, complete disintermediation of the customer and customer experience from the bank. So banks would no longer own the customer. It would be others like maybe an Amazon or a Google who would own the customer, and the back end would be the banking service that they would consume. So that is one scenario that you can see. Banks that are not investing heavily in digital technologies, not investing heavily in customer experience, they probably would go down that direction, end up becoming utility-like companies with hardly any differentiation. On the other side, you see financial services organizations that are really investing heavily in digital and customer experience related activities, and those will end up becoming platforms, open platforms on which somebody else could come and build applications. We are building a lot of applications for our customers on top of the APIs that they are exposing. So they would end up exposing their APIs, core functionalities on which we could build apps that could be consumed by anybody. Our experimentation with innovation happened outside of financial services. So we did work with a large pharmaceutical company in Singapore and built an innovation lab with them in Singapore. So that was our first experiment with innovation labs. So when we saw that as being successful, we said, why don't we replicate that for financial services? So with that in mind, we created something in collaboration with one of our large customers in London, a co-innovation lab. That today is a fairly large lab. We have over 150 people working there, working on different technologies, playing around with various things. The other thing that we are also doing is using these labs to foster a culture of innovation within the larger financial services business of HCL. So we've created people movement programs from the larger delivery centers into the lab on a rotation basis. So people move in, spend about 6 months working in the lab, pick up the ways of working, pick up the culture, pick up the technologies, and then come back into the regular delivery organizations.